First things first, I believe that I had a very fast-paced recruiting process. It started for me very late. I didn't have the grades coming up freshman and sophomore year. I really slacked off in the classroom. But once, I started getting coaches in my face telling me, they wanted me, but, I couldn't go because of the grades. That's when I knew that junior and senior year, I really had to ramp that up. So I think that it went, about summer going into senior year is when things really started to come into vision for me. It wasn't until, the third or fourth game into the season that I got my first offer from the University of Rhode Island. Second one came from Norfolk State, and then, I was about right there with JMU, Hawaii, a bunch of D2 schools. Everything started coming along, but I kind of went with who was showing me the most love first, and that was University of Rhode Island. They had the program I wanted for school. I loved the team. I loved the coaches, especially, Coach Confessor, the one who recruited me to go there. So it did feel like home. And from then on out, I stuck it out through the recruiting process, and come signing day, that's where I signed. Being a true freshman definitely taught me a lot because I went into it thinking that, a true freshman meant, you start at your position and all those things. But, one thing you learn when you get to college is that everybody on the team was the best at their high school. So, despite what you might be told throughout the recruiting process, things really get real when you get there, especially that first camp. But I wanted to make sure that I got on the field somehow, and thankfully enough, through special teams, punt return, kickoff, kick return, made my presence felt, and I had a great group of guys with me that was also 100% all in on going crazy on especially kickoff. So I made my presence known there. So I got to rotate a couple of times at safety, each game throughout my freshman year, and it was really truly a memorable experience. I'll never forget, getting off that bus for the first time at the University of Kansas as a freshman, and really in that moment it all hits you, and you kind of take a little bit of a appreciation for the work that you put in to get that far. So it's still a grind. And even though, being a true freshman, it's a lot of glory, takes a lot of guts too. You got older guys that have been there for maybe 4 or 5 years that are, still trying to get the same opportunities as you. So, you got to make sure that the people on that team, you're surrounded by folks that are going to encourage you and want you to play, no matter how long or short that they've been there for. The transfer process for me was different. I was a part of that class, I should say, that, hopped in that portal. So things are so much different now. You can get in the portal and anybody can contact you as long as they see your name there. And that was different for not only the compliance office, but for my coaches and for me. And really it was an extremely rushed process. Thankfully, in retrospect, my coaches tried to save me from myself, from leaving out of there and kind of, throwing a curveball at my progress throughout my collegiate career. But yeah, I ended up taking a visit to one school only, which was University of Findlay, and I ended up going there in January of 2018. Looking back on it, I definitely wish I would have took my time. But, I learned a lot of things through that. And, I learned, not to make decisions so emotionally. That's one of the biggest things that a lot of athletes don't know, and come to find out the hard way, is kind of think logically about these things, because that's one thing I didn't do. But, regardless of that, I am, grateful of the time that I spent over there at Findlay. It was only 3 semesters, but I had a couple great coaches, and every guy on that team I have a lot of love for, even to this day, even though I wasn't even there for a whole entire year. So, you know, it was rough to go through that, having to, you know, come to terms with the decision that I made, and kind of, I won't say so much have a feeling of regret, but more so have a feeling of, you know, maybe I should have thought about this a little harder, because maybe I would have made the same decision, but at least it would have been an informed decision and not an emotional one. I ended up transferring back to the school that I left from, because after, you know, a lot of time to sit and reflect for myself, it was something that I missed. I missed my teammates. I missed my people. You know, the relationships that I built outside of football, the opportunities, you know, that I had there. You know, it all came to me, the reason that I chose to be there in the first place, and that's something that was lost upon me when things kind of went south in terms of our team record. You know, because all the guys on the team played hard. Everybody came to practice to show out each and every week, and we came to play each and every week. But unfortunately, you know, the record was no indication of how talented and how hardworking that entire team was. And, you know, I felt like I let my brothers down. You know, the same guys that were there for me, picking me up. You know, it just felt like it was the right thing to do, and I felt like I was getting a second chance to do it all again right this time. And, you know, I spoke with the coaches when I was allowed to, and they let me know that, you know, nothing is going to be handed to you coming back here. I had to earn back my full ride. I had to earn everything back, and that's something that I knew and something I was willing to do. And, you know, I came back to a slightly different group of guys, but, you know, they were guys that I was willing to build, you know, new relationships with, and make the most out of it that I can, because all I wanted to do was be a leader, regardless of what my situation was. And, you know, looking back on it, despite how it ended, it's something I can be proud of. I think that any advice that I could give, you know, one of these young high school dudes now is, especially with this recruiting process, man, take your time. Take your time and enjoy, you know, everything that you're doing right now. You know, as a freshman, you always think you want to play varsity so bad and you can't wait to go to college, or maybe you don't even think college is in your future. But you know, you have to realize that anything can happen as long as you put the work in and the time and the effort, not only on the field but in the classroom as well. Get close with your teachers, get close with the admin, build a community around yourself, because these are the people that's going to advocate for you when it comes that time. You know, give every school a chance. You know, don't shut down just because you think it might not be to your level or whatever. Don't shut out an opportunity from yourself, because you don't know if that could be the best one for you. And definitely go as hard as you can, and make every single memory that you have for these, you know, whether it be 4 years or your last year as a senior coming up. You know, just be smart about the decisions that you're making. You know, make sure that you're putting in that work to succeed in every facet of the game, and in the classroom, and really just have fun. That's the best I could say, because you're gonna look at it one day and you know, reminisce with your boys on them times you had in high school, and hopefully once you get to college, you know, it'll be even better. So that's the best advice I could give to a young dude now.